What's up, everybody? I'm back. I just clocked off. This is a little two-parter that I hoped to film a couple days ago, but didn't get around to it. I filmed another video on Wednesday talking about the Colorado Avalanche season opener against the LA Kings. I'm going to upload both of those today, but this is a little two-parter. I'm going to call this the bubble bath. Because we have a couple of economic things to break down and see if they are in a bubble. So I'm going to start off with the easy one, in my opinion, which is AI. In my opinion, it's pretty clear. Yes, we are in a bubble with AI. I saw this really interesting email that I subscribed to where they talked about this estimate from McKinsey about what AI automation would look like and how many people essentially would need to be replaced with AI for OpenAI to be profitable. McKinsey is a very prestigious consulting firm. They really like cutting staff or recommending their clients cut staff. They're pretty aggressive about that, historically speaking. Also, this is where Pete Buttigieg used to work. Fun fact. But in their estimate, looking at OpenAI, so OpenAI is looking at like $12 billion of revenue right now, which is quite a bit. That's a lot of money coming in. By 2030, McKinsey estimates that OpenAI would need to hit between $1 and $1.5 trillion of revenue for all of the investments that they've made to pay off. And in order to get there, based on the current pricing, pricing in changes over time that OpenAI is using, they would need to lay off approximately 400 million people. That's more than twice the size of the entire United States labor force. And again, this is by 2030 for OpenAI to be profitable. So yeah, that's pretty cut and dry, right? Like, that's not going to happen. OpenAI is still way, way far off from being able to actually replace jobs en masse, in my opinion. If you watched the Sora 2 trailer that came out, I think it was a week and a half ago, maybe now. It's, cool, but you can tell that it's AI. Like, this is not groundbreaking video technology. It doesn't look that great. And, if you think about what the promise of AI is supposed to be, the idea, at least this is my opinion, but this is kind of what, AI people, I think, have been selling, is that, AI and automation will free us from drudgerous work, and it would allow people to focus on things that they want to do, allow them to focus on, creative outlets in their life, that sort of thing. If the proof of concept for AI is, graphic design and making like kind of crappy looking videos, what's that doing for anybody? You know what I mean? Like, what value is that really providing? And then if we look at this on a more global scale, I'm not saying that AI will never work or that it will never come to fruition. I think it obviously will. It is a very interesting technology. There are a lot of possibilities with it, but I just think we're too far off. I also think that if you look at, the United States electricity grid compared to the grid in China has a lot more capacity. That's the reason why we've seen utility bills go up like crazy in areas where data centers are being built. Like Virginia, for example. I heard that it was 38% of the electric grid in Virginia is being used by these AI data centers, which is just ridiculous and unsustainable. And then if we look at other AI models, what OpenAI uses is large language models that requires a ton of parameters and a ton of computing power. But if you look at like what AI engineers in Singapore are doing, for example, they're using a different methodology known as hierarchical reasoning. I'm not going to pretend that I know what that means. I'm not a software engineer, but the skinny on it is that it requires a fraction of the parameters and computing power that large language models do, and it's getting faster and better results. So if the product is faster and cheaper and better, why would anyone want to use the LLM if this hierarchical reasoning is going to be that much more superior? So I think that we're pretty clearly in an AI bubble here in the United States. I think there's just a lot of things going against the short to medium term profitability of these expenditures. I think that artificial intelligence will end up providing benefit. I would say I'm concerned about the possibilities, but I mean, you look at the history of new technologies, like I don't think any sane person would say that we should go back to a pre-computer world, right? I think everyone would agree that computers have made the world better. So I think that ultimately that's going to be the case with AI. I think it will allow society to advance, but there are a lot of questions about how that's going to happen, how the profits from this technology are going to be distributed, who's going to be in charge of it. So all of those things need to be answered. But in the short to medium term, I think, yes, we're in a bubble, and that's going to lead into part 2, which I will get into right now.